Hey, this is Andrew Brown, your favorite tech instructor, bringing you another certification course here on freeCodeCamp, and this time it is the Open Models Coding Essentials, also known as the EXP Open Model Code 01. And the things that I want you to learn in this is to work with open models, as we've already covered in other courses, every other provider, so the open stuff is just as important. So models like Gemma, GLM, Kimi, and Qwen, but we need to run them in somewhere like coding harnesses, so we'll use ones we already know, like Claude Code and Codex, but also ones that you may have not explored, as there are a lot, so we will see what will work best for us. We need to run these models somewhere, so we will run them locally as well as in the cloud. And if you love content like this, the best way to support it, especially for the Exam Pro content, is to purchase the optional certification and paid materials at exampro.co. And also remember to support your publisher freeCodeCamp to help deliver this free content. If you do not know me, I was previously a CTO for over a decade, and then I transitioned over as a tech educator here with over 50 tech courses covering basically everything, and we're going to keep making courses there, but hopefully you'll like what you see, and you'll continue on through here, and I'll see you soon. Ciao, ciao. Hey folks, it's Andrew, and before we jump into the videos, I just want to talk about why I wanted to make this course and what information that I feel that it's revealed, at least for me. Okay, so I've known that there's been multiple different coding harnesses, and there's these Chinese models that supposedly can perform as well as Claude Code or Codex or things like that. But, I just wanted to see, can we download these models, run them locally, run them in the cloud? Do they perform well? And, where are the hard edges? We're basically just building smoke tests here. So we're building Flappy Bird apps. We're not doing anything exhaustive. If we really wanted to test these things, I would have to build out a, what we call a eval harness. So the idea is that we would make a list of things and test them against that. Didn't have time for that. In fact, I couldn't really find one. There's one on GitHub, but it's just not going to work very well and apply the stuff. And so the frustrating part is that, there's all these things and they say they're great and our tools are great, but there's no benchmark to put them against. And I mean like practical benchmark. I don't mean like the AI benchmark where they talk about intelligence of models and things like that. So just understand that, we're just getting our feet wet here. We're not going to have deep answers here for you. But let's take a look at what answers I do have for you here. So first thing is that Gemma 4 had recently came out, and I heard that it had a small memory footprint, and I have an RTX 4060. That's what Baco was allowing me to get, and so I thought, okay, maybe there's a model that I can actually run that has a good output of tokens per second that could be used in a coding harness. And surprisingly, Gemma 4 really does have a small memory footprint, and it actually does work quite decently as a coding harness, surprisingly. Not as good as the other ones that specialize in it, but it did extremely well. The only issue that I found out was that in order to really use it for local models, I would need a 32,000 context window, and I would need something like 24 to 32 gigabytes of VRAM, and I only have 8 gigabytes of VRAM. And so it might be possible to run this locally if I had the right hardware, but I don't have the right hardware. And so I couldn't really test locally those capabilities. And I can run Qwen on my computer, but it uses almost all of my VRAM, and its context window is not large enough. But if you don't have a 32,000 size context window with Gemma 4, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work locally. And so I was out of options there, and then I had to quickly switch over to cloud models. But yeah, were there any models that I could actually run to drive code? For me, no. Okay, what would it take? I don't know. It might take a, what do they call it? It's the Apple Max Metal 3 Studio or whatever, and you might need 2 of those. You might need 2 DGX Sparks on your desk, or you might need a combination of those things, and one does one and one does the other, or you need a custom rig. But everyone that has these things sitting on their desk and working sounds like they're spending $10,000. So Baco's not going to give me $10,000. Maybe if enough people buy the content for this course, I can go buy one and evaluate it for us here. But it's just not in the cards here today. Which coding harness can we use to run open models? a lot, surprisingly. And coding harnesses that I did not expect that we could use, like Claude Code. And it worked really, really well. Okay. So that is something that's really interesting. The real question is like, if you know that Claude Code can run models from Ollama Cloud, should you even bother with these other ones? And for me, the answer is probably not, unless you care about seeing how the code works, like uh, coding agent, or you need to adopt it across your org. So maybe you want to use Goose. The other ones that were like backed by startups like Kilo and Open Code and Factory Droid, I probably would never touch. They're nice, but I just don't think there's any value in them, to be honest. I would probably just stick with Claude Code or fiddle around with Pi Coding Agent or write my own for fun, which I probably will make my own coding harness just for learning, not necessarily as a serious contender. Which open models actually work as coding models? For me, the best one was Kimi 2.5. GLM was okay. MiniMax was okay. Qwen was awful. Gemma was surprisingly good for what it was. And if I had the hardware locally, I'd probably run Gemma 4 because it's good enough. I have friends that say that they with the right tooling, they can make some of these models work really, really well. Like even Llama 3.2, but it's very specialized. So maybe I'm lacking some specialized knowledge. But they were also saying that it took them like a month to set up those workflows to get that thing. So maybe the smaller models can work like Llama 3.2, but you have to put a lot of time into it, and they're still using bigger models to drive the smaller models. So we don't have that time or that expertise, but maybe I'll pull in a guest instructor to help us one day. If we can't run them locally, then where can we run them? There's a lot of providers, but a lot of them are API token driven. And then the ones that are subscription based, they're generally with these providers and they're highly quantized and they're not very, very good. And then the question is like, do you just get them straight from China? If they're there, I can figure out how to subscribe to them. Like and then also you're just paying for a single model and it's not really good one. So for me, Ollama was the best option as you got a good range. Ollama Cloud to be particular, but you got a good range of it. The price was $20-$30, which was similar to other ones. And they performed fine. Ones that go under $20-$30 do not touch because they're highly quantized and they're not going to perform very well. So there's no point in using them. If I had to use an API key driven one, I'd probably use Open Router. There's a lot of API key ones out there, but I want to do subscription so you have something that you're more used to doing. Okay. Can we rent our own GPU compute and serve a model? I have service quotas open for compute on AWS and other providers. I just don't have it, so I can't run them. And even if they approve my request, compute is so hard to get a hold of right now, I could probably not do it. There are other ones like CoreWeave, but I have to go through a sales team and it's taking forever for them to talk. I wanted to look at AnyScale, but you still have to use AWS or their own environment, but they're too slow to get back to me. Llama is a possible option, Llama AI, but when you go there, like it's a crapshoot. Sorry for the bad language, but it's a crapshoot in terms of what is available for the compute. So they might have an A100 that you can rent for at $3 an hour, but then other times you can only pay $40 an hour for a large cluster. And so I could have made a video on that, but I would literally have to keep hitting the roulette, like on the reload every hour to find something, and it'd be very hard to replicate. And I don't know if it'd be worth our time. But I did want to go through that just to see what the experience was like, because at the end of the day, it's like, can I get this stuff, or for my like if I have the capex spend at my organization, or I want to have something on my desk, can I do it? And so hopefully that answers your questions. But yeah, I guess the main thing is like go through these videos, see what my experience is, and try it out for yourself. And just make sure that you have this in your back pocket, as we should just keep all our paths open. Okay, ciao, ciao. All right, let's take a look at what possible open model selections that we have that we can work with. I'm going to break this into 3 categories, and really the last category is what we're going to use, because there's confusion as to what you can use, because there's generic models, there's coding optimized models, and there's ones that specifically work for coding harnesses really, really well. So for general purpose models, these are good at all kinds of tasks. You've probably heard of these models before, like Llama, Mistral, and Gemma. Gemma 4 is recently released, and it's very, very good. Low memory footprint, and surprisingly actually worked in most use cases. It's not the best out of the models that are out here, but for one that has a very low footprint, it worked really, really well. It did have some issues with tool calling, but once we used the cloud models, it had no problems with it, or some other fiddling with it, then we got it working okay. Then there's coding optimized models. These ones are specialized specifically for working with code. So they're fine-tuned on code data sets. They're better at writing and completing code and things like that. So this is where you have Ollama, DeepSeek Coder, CodeStrol, GPT OSS, and Qwen 3.5. Technically, Qwen is a generic one, but it's also have a coding optimized one. And I think that one's by Alibaba. And this one's really, really popular, but I wouldn't say that it's very good anymore. I mean, if you want to put it into a managed tier, you can say it's like Haiku, Claude Haiku, but it has a problem where it just doesn't call tools. And you have to do a lot of extra plumbing to make sure that it does call tools. And I just never got to experience this working properly. And so I kind of gave up on it. But people like it because it's very cost effective and it's fast. GPT OSS is an open source version of GPT that's optimized, and it sucks. We did use it with Codex because it's recommended, but it's from last year, so it's not really recommended. I did not touch CodeStrol. DeepSeek Coder is very old. Ollama is very, very old, so we're not working with those. I heard Ollama is really, really bad, so there's no point. Then you have these coding harnessed optimized models. So these ones are tool use aware. And that's the key thing here, because if they're not tool use aware, these things will just write out to the screen and not edit files and stuff like that. And that's very frustrating when you make a large plan and then it doesn't do it, right? And so we needed to reliably call tools, be aware of tools. We needed to reliably create structured output, follow multi-step agentic instructions, not go off task, and recover gracefully. And so the models that do that is Kimi, GLM, MiniMax, GLM, and Qwen. Qwen, not so great, but you know, if maybe you used it for years, you might disagree with me. I found Kimi really, 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 really good. Despite people saying that GLM and MiniMax are better. And so maybe they just mean like when you're working with it long term and you're loading it up, some people say Kimi would stall out, but it seemed like many times Kimi would do better. But like maybe overall MiniMax and GLM will be more consistent across the board for you. I don't know. I'm not going deep enough and creating evaluation harnesses to really, really know, as we're just basically doing a smoke test, building Flappy Birds, and just getting our feet wet. But I would just say that I was absolutely impressed with Kimi and these other open models, and I could absolutely see myself driving them every single day. Could they handle the most complex tasks that Claude Opus could handle? No. But for the cost and the reliability and the chance that you might be able to run this on your own hardware one day, or if you have enough money to the capex cost to have this stuff sitting on your desk, then it might be worth it for you, or if you care about data sovereignty. But yeah, the biggest challenge here was just open models that would invoke tool use. Okay, but yeah, there we go, and we will jump into it. Okay. Let us take a look at the possible coding harnesses that we can utilize. Before we do, I want to talk about where we are serving these models from. So I'm going to be using Ollama Cloud because it has a subscription service, very, very similar to your Claude subscription, your OpenAI subscription, your Gemini subscription. If I wasn't using Ollama Cloud as a subscription service, I'd probably use OpenRouter, as I'm very familiar with that to get access via API keys. But I thought that this was a really good solution because we already use Ollama to serve the model locally, as it's the easiest way to do it. And so using Ollama Cloud was super, super easy. The subscription cost is $20 to $30. I never ran out. And so it also just integrates with everything. So I think that this is a really good option. There's probably other subscription models out there. I just don't know about them. I'm not endorsed by Ollama Cloud, but it just worked, okay? And so it might surprise you that that you can use the main three with open models. So with Gemini CLI, you can integrate it with Gemma. However, I was not able to get this to work. It's in experimental mode with terrible documentation. And so I just wasn't able to do this. I don't think you'd be able to serve it through Ollama Cloud. So this would be a model that would come from maybe Google Cloud, Vertex AI, or a local model, but I'm just having no luck with this. So I'm not even going to try. Codex surprisingly integrates with Ollama Cloud, and I think I had good use with Gemma 4. It recommends to use GPT-OSS, which is just awfully old and terrible, but it wasn't the best experience out of it. ClaudeCode did exceptionally well with all the open models. The only model that ever seems to have a problem is Qwen, the Qwen model, where half the time it doesn't call tool use. So there's not much we can do about that. But yeah, ClaudeCode was just absolutely incredible, and Ollama integrating with these things are great. So you absolutely can just continue on using ClaudeCode. In terms of things that aren't from the main three providers, we have Pi coding agent. So this one is a purposely bare bones open source coding harness made by a very opinionated developer, and this person leaves out a lot of features like plan mode and tasks and MCP, and it's because they have strong opinions that you don't need these things. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I did really like the transparency with this tool, and it was very easy to open the guts of it and see what was going on with it. And so I think if I had to drive with one, I'd probably be using Pi coding agent as my main driver. They have been the person that developed this was acquired by another for-profit company, and so this product is going under that company. So I don't know what will happen to this product in the future, but it is good. And even if there's features you don't like, you can extend them, right? And it generally worked good enough. Okay, Goose CLI is the jankiest thing I've ever used, but it is part of the Linux Foundation, so you have a guarantee that it's going to be maintained and properly open. If you're a large org, you're going to probably like this. Also, Goose is an entire ecosystem, so it's not just the CLI, but they have like a desktop app and probably like an OpenClaw, similar thing. So when you have all those three things, you got to bind to something. That's probably a good one to look at. But I couldn't get it to work with Ollama. It's supposed to work with Ollama Cloud. It works with Ollama Local. And so if I don't have a video for this, it's because I had too much pain with it and I couldn't give you a good example. Kilo CLI is an entire ecosystem that is a for-profit startup. It allows you to bring your own model, but I couldn't integrate this with Ollama Cloud, which was kind of sad. I think that they really want you to use their subscription service where they have their own models. And so I never got to evaluate it because if I'm not using open models, I don't want to use it. And when I say open models, I mean one that I could host myself or comes from a subscription that I choose, and it's not like tied to that specific provider. So I just wasn't that interested in doing that because I don't want to pay for like 100 subscriptions here. So I wasn't going to do that. Droid was interesting. You had to sign up just to use it, where all these other ones with Kilo, Goose, Pi, Claude Code, Codex, if you're using those open models, you don't have to sign in anything, but like with Factory, they want your information. They're an entire ecosystem. I think there's a lot of marketing around their stuff to make things look more impressive than they are. So they have these things called droids, but they're really just agents. And so I just think that they have a lot of opinionated scripts and skills and sub-agents that just give you better results. But I did find that, it made like models like Kimmy that can already do really well. It kind of made the results worse, but I feel like maybe if you use Qwen or these dumber models, that kind of tooling would help these less intelligent models, and you'd probably get better spend. Their thing is they want you to buy into their hosted subscriptions, inference, just like Kilo, so that's no surprise there. OpenCode is going to be very similar to the other two there. They're not an entire ecosystem. You can bring your own model. Ollama worked perfectly with that. But their thing was more like they had a sleeker UI. But I would say that there was things I didn't like when you had the plan mode, it would stay in the plan mode and not know to switch out. They're trying to sell you on their own subscriptions. I know that their subscription is cheap. It's like $5 or $10, but their models are highly quantized, so they're not very good. So there's barely no reason to use their subscription. And so, even though they all have their own subscriptions, I feel like you should just use Ollama, which is going to give you the maximum flexibility to move between these. Because a lot of these things, like out of these, the four out of five are all backed by startups, and then one day they're going to get acquired or they're going to vanish, and you're going to lose that tool. And this happened already to like Windsurf and other companies. So that's something you should factor into. I'd love to use Goose, but I just can't get it to work. Or I like the idea of Goose. But anyway, worst case, you could just use Claude Code. The only challenge is that if the providers start blocking them. So I know Claude Code does not let you use their subscription everywhere else, only with Claude Code, but they're not preventing you from using Ollama Cloud for now. So that is fine. But yeah, those are our choices, and we will explore them all the best we can, okay? Hey, this is Andrew. In this video, we're going to go ahead and get Ollama set up. So I already have this installed, and you can install it with you're on Windows on the Windows side or within WSL. If you're on Mac, you can obviously install it directly on Mac. And it works a little bit different, but I am going to install it onto WSL too, as that will be the best way for me to work with it. They do have a cloud version. I do intend to use this at some point, but I also want to use local models, as I want to use local and then the cloud hosted ones, as there's very limited things that I can do with the compute that I have, but we want to explore both options. And so for now, we're just going to grab it for free. So if we go back to the home here, there is a single line to go ahead and get installed here. And so down below here, I am in WSL2, so Windows Subsystem Linux. It's just Ubuntu. And this one specifically is built to work with my NVIDIA card. I do have an NVIDIA video on how to create that in my NVIDIA course. I might carry that over to here, and so you might already have seen that video. So if you are on Windows and you have an NVIDIA graphics card, then you can follow along. If you have a different kind of graphics card, you'll have to do something. If you do not have the local compute, then you won't be able to do it. If you're on a Mac, then even M1s can run models. So not very good, but you can try to use it just to experiment with, to get an idea on how that works. But understand that I'm going to be using Windows with an NVIDIA graphics card, as that's going to be very, very common. The other method will be a Mac, but I just don't have a modern. I have an M1. I don't have a newer one. So we're kind of limited here what we can show, okay? But anyway, so we have this single line over here. I'm going to go ahead and grab it. And I actually already have it installed, but I'm just going to go through the motions here, as it will pretty much be the same. And it looks like it didn't grab the whole line here for some reason. In fact, I don't remember there being an IRM. So I'm going to go over to download Ollama. That's so bizarre. And if we go to Linux, there we go. So like Mac, curl, that's an IRM. Oh, that's the Windows version. Okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and grab that one here, and we'll paste it in here. And it's going to go ahead and install the latest version. And this takes a little bit of time. I don't know why it does, but it takes a bit of time, and we will hang out until it is done, okay? All right, now we are up to date. We'll go ahead and check Ollama status. Okay, you can run into issues if you have Ollama installed on your Windows side and on the WSL side, so you might have to shut down the other one. It could also be running somewhere that you're not expecting it to be, but just check out the version. The current one today is 2027. And if you do have any major issues, I would suggest to go over to the Ollama GitHub, okay? Because you can run into issues with it. And just check out the issues tab if you get any particular errors. I think I was having issues with Gemma 4 the other day with some particular integration. And so I had to go over here and fiddle with something. I can't remember what it fixed. I think I just restarted my computer. But anyway, just consider that it's not always going to work perfectly. And so the way Ollama works, and I've showed this in my Gen AI Essentials, but we will show it again here just so that you have clear understanding, is that there are models. I'm trying to find here the models on here, and you can pull different ones. So you have GLM 5.1, MiniMax, Gemma 4. And just because you can pull them doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be able to run on your machine. So use whatever your favorite provider is and tell them the resources you have. So for me, I'm on a Windows machine and I have NVIDIA graphics cards. So I'm going to open up the NVIDIA app here, and it will just say I have the, here in my rig, it will say that I have the NVIDIA RTX 4060. That's the best that Baco would let me have. And so I'll go here and just say like, I have the GeForce RTX 4060 with a Intel i9 14900 with 64 RAM, Windows 11. What Ollama models can I run comfortably? Okay, and it will go ahead and do that. And it might be a little bit out of date. I know what models I can run. But basically what's important is like what can fit in the VRAM. Okay, so whatever your VRAM is. And where it is here, I'm not exactly sure. It's always kind of a pain to find it and determine the information here. But the point is that there is VRAM, and whatever can fit in there is what we'll be able to do. And actually, yeah, here it says 4060 VRAM and Ollama model sizing. And so we'll give it a moment here to generate. So as it says, the standard is 8, and that's probably what I have. Ollama defaults to systems with under 24 gigabytes of VRAM, so 4K context lengths. So with a comfortable setup, 3 billion to 8 billion context models. So anything, 12 billion might be workable. And then here we run into other areas. So looks like a 7 to 8 billion ones are going to be kind of okay for us. And if we're into 3 to 7 billion, it's going to be a little bit nicer. So we'll go over to here and we will see what we have that we can work with. So there is the GLM 5.1. I believe that is not going to fit. Qwen will absolutely fit the 3.5. They are generally small, but if you go here, we are looking, let's go over here. I think it said context size. But normally it's the parameters we're looking at. So here it says 8 billion parameter. Okay, so if we pull it, it's going to pull the correct size one. It usually does. And so we will go over to here. And notice right off the bat, we have ClaudeCode, Codex, and other providers that we can run it in. But I'm going to go ahead and grab this here for now. And we will go and run. We can just pull it if we want. So if I go ahead and just say pull, it will download that model. All right, notice that it's 6.6 gigabytes. So these things are large. If you do not have a lot of room, you'll have to clear them out. And you can periodically clear them out. Sometimes older models get deprecated. So once they are gone, you might not be able to run them ever again. So, just be aware of that. You might want to save the weights somewhere if you really, really rely on it. But we will download this and then we'll just run it here and make sure we know how Ollama works. And then we'll integrate it with something, okay? All right, so now we have that model set up. And so what I want to do is I want to have a way of monitoring, what's going on here with my machine. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up, because I need this more than once here. I'm just going to open up another VS Code here. If it will let me, I'll just back out here for 2 seconds. Into another folder. It doesn't let you open the same one. I'll go back into our open models folder. And so in this one, I'm still connected to the NVIDIA one here. We're going to go ahead and make a new terminal. Okay, we're going to drag this on up. And there is a tool called NVIDIA SMI. It's just part of NVIDIA, so you should have it. And if you don't, or there's some additional instructions, like I have an NVIDIA course, so nothing tricky there. But if we look here, sure, it says 10K. There's no way there's 10K files. We shouldn't have a .git directory in there. 1 second here. That's going to bug me. I just don't want to stare at that anymore. 1 second. No, there's no .git directory, so I guess I'll just have to stare at it. But anyway, that 10K just stresses me out. But here we can see NVIDIA SMI, and so we can see, I think that's the VRAM right there. So it's like 8 gigabytes. And then, we can see its usage, the fan, additional information. And this tool is okay, but there's actually a better one called, it's called NVID Top. So I'm just looking up how to grab NVID Top. NVIDIA Top. NVIDIA Top. It's called NVID, and here it is. NVTop. And so if we get this installed, we get a lot better information dynamically. I don't know what all this other stuff is, but we'll go over to here. And it's just pip uvx install or pip install or however you want to do that. Okay. I think you just go pip install NVTop like that. Okay, and so that would be a better way to get it. And so I'm just going to go ahead and run NVTop. And so this is going to allow me to see as we're going here, and just also consider that I'm also recording, so there is some usage of memory here, and so I do have to consider that when running these models, so I do have that overhead. But here on the left-hand side, we have CPU, and then here on the right-hand side, we have GPU. So things might get offloaded to the CPU or stuff there, but if we know that we're utilizing our GPU, it should be showing up over here, right? But here you can see the memory usage, and then the memory bandwidth, and then its actual utility. So hopefully that is clear. And so we will go up over here. And by the way, if you don't know how to read this, just take a screenshot of it, feed it to ChatGPT or any provider that you like. So now that we've pulled the model, let's go ahead and run Ollama serve. That's how you start up the server. and saying it's already in use because I have it running somewhere else. I'm going to say Ollama stop. Ollama, I just type Ollama here. No. Ollama help. Ollama help. As there should be a command to stop the server. And this is always kind of a problem with Ollama, is like it'll be running in the background. How do I stop an existing Ollama server running? Linux. You'd think the command would be right there, but I think we need like something to forcefully kill it. I mean, we could use sudo systemctl, but I don't know if that's actually how it's running. And so we can go ahead and I guess we could just check here, status, Ollama. Okay. And so it is stopped. So let's try this again, Ollama serve. It's only because I had this from before. Okay, and so now that's what we needed. So it's spun up here. I think I would have preferred to have it on the other screen, but that's fine. And then so we'll go over to here. I'm gonna say Ollama run. What was the model we chose to pull? Well, we don't know. We can just say Ollama list, I think. And so here we have Qwen 3.5 and Gemma 4. You can say I downloaded Gemma 4. And so if I want to run this one, I just say Ollama run Qwen 3.5 latest, and it's going to now start up the model. If we go over to here, we should get some information that makes it very clear that it is running and being served. So we're getting a 200, which is good. So it is ready to receive information. So can you write a single line code for a Hello World program in C? How about that? There you go. And so it's off the races, and it's interesting. Like, look how snappy it is, right? It's incredibly, incredibly fast. So you can kind of see how that's very interesting. But if we go up to here, look at my exhaustion of resources here. And it's being like nearly utilized. So we're at 85%. Again, remember that I'm running OBS, which is used to actually capture our screen here, right? And so we need to pay attention to our memory bandwidth and our memory usage. And you can also see things are being offloaded to the CPU. Okay, so I think the top part says memory and the bottom is compute. At least that's what I think. And then over here, I don't know, I think this might be the VRAM, but like, again, we can screenshot this. Okay. If we don't know what we're looking at, and we can drop it in here and say, where is the VRAM in this image of NVI top? Okay. And so I think it's probably right there. So in your NVIDIA screenshot, VRAM, GPU, and it shows in a couple places. So it's used. Yeah. And so that's what I thought, right? The visual bar as well. So 86% memory. So here is our VRAM. And then here is our VRAM. I wish it literally say VRAM or VMemory, but they don't do that. And so, yeah, so it's this thing and then this thing, whatever. So anyway, it's working. It's off to the races. It's still going. I'm going to go ahead and stop that. Okay, and if we look over here, it's just idling. But notice that this is still large because that's what it's holding within memory, right? So if we go ahead and we just quit this, so we say quit or exit. There we go. If we go back over to here, our memory should drop, right? Is it going to drop? It's not dropping. If we go over to here, yeah, I'm not sure why it's not dropping. So we'll go over to here and maybe type Ollama help, and we'll take a look here. Say Ollama stop the Qwen model, Ollama list. And we'll grab this. Ollama stop Qwen. And so now it immediately dropped, okay? So that's what we're paying attention for. Go back over to here. We can see maybe that it stopped. I'm not sure. But you can at least see the request coming in of what you're sending. Okay. And so that's one there. Could I run Gemma? I don't know. That one might hang our system here, but I'll try it. Okay. So we'll go and say Ollama list. And so I obviously downloaded this. You just do the same thing. You just pull it. You say Ollama run whatever. In fact, if you do just this line, it will actually pull it as well. And so we're going to start that up, and I want to see how much that holds into memory. Gemma is supposed to be extremely memory efficient. So we might get better results here. Wow, look at that. Look how efficient that is. Really? Wow, that's impressive. Okay, so say, write me a hello world program in C. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. Look at that speed. Look at that usage. Wow, that is low. That is incredible. And so it'd be great if we could use Gemma. Gemma 4 is pretty new. But the challenge with these models is like whether they'll end up using tool use and tool calls, which we'll discover as we try to work with these models. Obviously, Qwen, we're basically at the limits of its usage, so I might have a hard time recording this stuff, but we will see. But anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted to show in this video, but we're absolutely coming back to Llama, as it's going to be the easiest way for us to serve and utilize models. But I will see you in the next one, okay? Ciao, ciao. Hey folks, it's Andrew, and in this video, what I want to do is use Ollama to serve up a model through an existing coding harness. There are a lot of options out there, and I think we'll just start with the most obvious, which will be Claude Code. And I actually didn't know that you could serve it through Claude Code until I was exploring models that I just don't know why I never noticed. But if we go like over to here, notice that we can say like Claude Code Gemma 4 here, and we can also do Codex. So we'll get Claude Code installed. I mean, I should already have it installed. But just in case I don't, we'll go ahead and go through those motions there, as it's not too hard to get Claude Code installed. So I'm typing Claude Code, and we will go down here to Claude Code, and we will look for the installation instructions. So here it is for Windows, Mac, and etc. Again, I recommend that you use Linux, as it's going to be the easiest way to work with this stuff. And that's what you really should be using. So we'll go ahead and install it. I'm sure it's already installed. And so it should not take too long to get going here. It's usually faster than that. I'll pause here. There we go. Now it's installed with the latest version. And so normally you'd want to like log into Claude, right? So I type in Claude, and normally you want to hook up your subscription. I'm already have mine here, so I'm just going to log out. I just want to show that I'm not using anything. So if I type in Claude now, right, it usually prompts you this first and asks for something. But I'm just going to cancel this out here and type in clear. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to here. I'm going to grab this line where it specifies model Gemma. So it's like Ollama, launch Claude, model Gemma. Now, the question is, do we need to have it already running? Maybe. So I'm going to go ahead and just run it without it right now. And sure, dark mode's fine. And we'll say enter. And we'll go with recommended settings. And I'm going to go over to here. I just want to see if any model is running. Another way we can know is if we go over to here, is there a model? So notice the memory footprint's really small, making me think that the model isn't running. We might have to run it separately. I kind of forget. But if we type in model, we now have Gemma 4, right? And so I'll just say hello. And I want to see if I get back a hello. And notice that, oh, now the model spun up. Okay, so maybe if it's not there, it invokes it and then it spins it up. Okay. And so we have that. Excellent. So the question is, can I get it to actually do some kind of coding? And I'm just going to cancel out of here for a moment. Does that spin down the model? No, it's still running. So you got to be aware that the model might be running. I think if we go back over to here, there might be a command. We didn't look at it earlier, but there, whoops, Ollama help. So there's probably a command to see what is actually running. It doesn't show it, but anyway, that's fine. So what I want to do is I just want to make a new folder in here. I'll call it Hello World. And all I want to do is see if I can get it to write. So this is something that I think we will fail on because I think this is where we'll run into an issue, but we will see what happens, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and hit up and get back to this command where we have Gemma 4. Okay, so now the context here is this Hello World folder. And so what I wanted to do is write a new file. So can you create me a hello world.rb with puts hello world? Okay, so I'm running that. I want to see if it does that or if it just outputs here. The challenge with these things is just because you can load them up does not necessarily mean it's going to use the tools that are available to it. It might not even be aware of the tools that are available. And so notice that it did run. The model is running, but it never replied. It didn't do anything. It's strange. So go ahead and say, are you there? I remember before I got code back, right? And so again, it's thinking it's working. Come on, Gemma, you can do it. Now that doesn't mean that we can't get these models to work, but I just want to show you the challenge. Here we go. I certainly can. So here's the context. If you're working in a terminal environment, great. And so I'm saying, okay, okay, you are using Claude Code and you have tool use to write to files. Please write to files. Okay. And I'm not sure, like, if as the conversation grows, if the context will grow here and the memory bandwidth will increase or whatever, but I'm just trying to get it to invoke. So they say I don't have direct access, so it does not know about this information. So I'm going to see if there's some way that we can figure this out. I'm going to go over to ChatGPT because this is something that, like, when I was using it, I just could not figure out how to get them to write to these. So just a moment here. All right, and so here ChatGPT is suggesting a few things to us. We'll have to verify if it's true or not, but here it's saying that it can support the calling, but it might not do that. And you know, it could be a permissions issue. It says we do not need to manually teach Claude Code what tools are in a normal sense. So here it says use the available Claude Code tools. Do not describe the change. Create a file named hello in the current directory hello. Then confirm it's written. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this prompt here. I'm going to clear this out. Let's give it a try. Be interesting if that helps it out. But it's also saying that Ollama somehow can help it with tooling, but we'll see. I've yet to get it to write, so this is where we're trying to experiment and see if we can get that result. If we can, it's not a big deal, but it's, you know, it'd be nice. And so see, we just get this back and there's no response. So you're in an agentic loop when task requires file changes, call the appropriate tool. Try a model Ollama explicitly recommends for Claude Code, right? So there's very specific ones, or instead use Gemma 4, and that's something we will test. Make sure your Ollama context length is large enough. Ollama recommends at least 32,000 tokens for Claude Code. Okay. How do we know what it is set to? Check whether Claude Code is waiting on approval before writing the prompt. Claude Code's Ollama docs say actions require permissions. Use tools to create the test. Do not explain, etc., etc. So it could be a permissions issue. And so we could rule that out very easily. And I'm just going to go over here and just, because I don't have any example code near me, but I'll just say, like, what would be, can you create me a permissions file setting for Claude Code so we can rule it out. So that'll be something we might want to do here. We also might want to make a claude.md. No, we'll ignore it. But like that might be something we might want to do, just like put in like use available tools, do not describe the changes. And so we're just waiting for that to generate. I've honestly forgotten how to make the files, even though I made a giant course. I just did Codex and Gemini, so I'm not remembering exactly what it is. So I'm going to go look up the example of configuration file for Claude. I think it's like config.json. Let me see here. Oh, it's claude.json. Okay. So I believe we'll have a claude.json file. Hold on here. Yeah, I want one that's project specific. It's not listening to me. But this one is quite verbose. So we'll go ahead here and we will make a new file here. This will be Claude JSON. Okay. And so that looks good where we can just allow all those. And what is the Claude JSON file for a project? I think it's in the .claude directory. Sure, we can do that. That's fine as well. I don't mind that. So we'll make a new folder here called .claude. My hands are getting cold. I'm going to turn on my little heater. You probably won't be able to hear it, so that's fine. Okay, now I'm starting to remember this. Settings local. Yep. Settings JSON. And so we'll go ahead and we will cut this out. And so we will rule this out and see if that helps us out at all. I'm going to go ahead and clear the context. And I'm going to go and just close out and then relaunch this. And we will try this again. And so we'll see if this helps it write to the folder. Okay, we'll give this a refresh. Still nothing. Okay, let's let you intercept auto-prove actions. All right, we can try this as well. Again, I don't think it's going to work, but we'll go ahead and try it. Because I think a lot of people would probably be interested in using Gemma 4 because it's so memory efficient. But if this doesn't work, we'll just go get an Ollama subscription, as I'm not going to be able to run Qwen alongside it. We can try it in a separate video, but I suspect it might hang my video, and so I don't want to try it in this exact video here. So now we have added this. They also said, like, increase the context window. So here... Okay, what do we set this as? Is it in our settings? As I never really needed to do that before, so it seems to think that it's in there. We might have to look it up and confirm. Yeah, okay, so it's controlled by Ollama. Oh, okay. Well, what's the default that Ollama would launch with? Oh, that's really, really small. So 4K breaks Claude Code. Okay, so we'll go here. Oh, it's PS. Okay, so we were trying to find that earlier and it didn't show us command. I should have just tried that. And the context is 4096. Yeah, so what we'll do... Nope. We'll grab this here. I'm just trying to paste it. I don't know why it's refusing to copy here today. My hands are very, very cold, so I'm having a hard time writing here. And so we need to stop this model. So I'm going to go here and where is it running? Because we're not running the model directly because it's right here, but I'll go over to here. And we'll say Ollama list. I guess we can see right there. So Ollama stop Gemma 4 latest. I would think the context model would take up more of our memory. So that might be another thing we need to consider. And so it appears to be, it appears to be stop now here because it's smaller, the VRAM. And so I'm going to go over to here and I'm going to grab this line. Yeah, we're just going to go with what it needs. And so now we've set the context there. We'll say Ollama run Gemma 4 latest. And so after that, we will confirm by looking at the context over here, wherever it is, the Ollama PS. It's still showing 4096. Okay. So that did not work. I'm going to stop this here, exit, quit. And we will stop Gemma 4. And I want to check this. We'll say env grep this value. And so it is set. Okay, and we'll go over here. This did not change the size when I checked with PS. Okay, and so we'll just go here and say like Ollama context window size, envar. as I don't necessarily trust ChatGPT here. And it's setting it there. We just go look at the documentation. So 24 gigabytes is 4K context. Here it says 24 to 48 gigabits VRAM is this. And so I don't think I have enough for this context. So that's probably my problem here, is that this is 32,000 context. And so I'm just not going to be able to have a context that size, right? So I'll go back over to here. I'm going to stop this. Can I stop? Can I even run a 32K context with my RTX 4060? Because I don't think I can, based on that information. Well, no, I just told you what it was. It's right here, buddy. Sorry, the docs are right here. But I'm pretty certain, based on this information, it's going to be like, no. As that makes it pretty darn clear. The table's not saying what you're currently running. If you have enough VRAM, Ollama can default to this. So Ollama still defaults to unless overridden, even if your model supports 32. So even if your GPU is capable. So here it's 8 gigabytes VRAM, so 4K. So you cannot run a 32 VRAM. So this will happen. And so right off the bat, we are already at a dead end here with Gemma. But at least we know, right? So if we want to use Gemma, we'll have to serve it from somewhere. And so maybe we'll have to grab that from Google somehow. But I'm not sure, because we kind of expect that to come through Ollama. And the question is, like, if we go to Ollama, they do have open models, right? In their cloud offering. And I just wanted to take a look at their model library. And so, you know, is this something that they serve up in the cloud? They do have a cloud one. So maybe we can test this, and then we'll have the correct context. And so you can see the context window here, it says 256. And so this might be the only way for us to run it. So you can see, it's not that you can't run these models locally, but you're going to hit those limits with your VRAM. And it really comes down to that. Right? And so, like, if you needed that VRAM, like, what could actually run it? That would be the question. So if we go back over to here, you know, what kind of hardware would give us enough VRAM to actually run Gemma 4? Like, would it be Mac M3 Max? Okay. There's also the DGX Spark, but DGX Spark normally has a lot of memory. So here it says what running on 4 actually means. So enough VRAM for the model weights, enough for the KV cache, enough bandwidth so it's not painfully slow. So if it's this, okay, and we're running the 4 billion parameter. Okay. So yeah, obviously not for that. Tight but possible, right? So still, it's really, really hard. There is software like Expo, which can allow you to network them together. Okay. AI, not the band. And so this is a way for you to, like, have multiple Mac Minis and network them together. But you have to consider that there can be latency between the network. So if you taken my NVIDIA course, you'll learn, well, like, why you want DGX Sparks. DGX Sparks here, okay? So DGX Sparks, they have the NVIDIA's NVLink in it, and so it allows for extremely fast transportation, GPU to GPU transportation, and so that makes it extremely valuable. The only challenge here is that, okay, well, you might now have no latency between GPU to GPU when you're stacking them, but then you might have less VRAM, as these Mac Studios, the whatever number they are extremely good with VRAM. And so, like, okay, what about 2 DGX Sparks network together? Okay. And it's interesting because if you go down this rabbit hole, they might suggest you get like a Max 3 and a thing and then network them together. I'm not sure how you would do that. But again, unless we have this hardware sitting on my desk, and I don't, I can't answer this clearly. But again, we are still going to test out other stuff here. So here, each Spark has 128 unified memory of 200 gigabits per second. That's the thing that we need. Yeah, via these Connect X NICs. It's the custom NICs that NVIDIA makes with NVLink. So 2 Sparks are not the same thing as 1 box with 256 seamless memory. And so it's always like it depends. It might work. And so again, if we don't have these on our desk, we're not going to know for certain. Okay, so maybe one day I'll rent them. All right, there's a place that I could rent them for, but for now I cannot answer these questions for you. It's just I'm limited with our resources here. But anyway, I think we got our answer here, which is like, yeah, we need certain things to run the stuff. So yeah, we'll move on and try to use cloud ones now. Okay, ciao, ciao. Hey, this is Andrew. In this video, I want to see if we can use Codex along with Ollama and specifically with Gemma. Again, I'm not saying that Gemma is the best recommended model, but if we can run it, it'd be very interesting to do that. You'll notice that for each one, they are recommending very specific ones. So again, we just want to see if it can run it. So I'll go ahead and get Codex installed. So Codex install instructions, as it shouldn't be too difficult for us to get this installed. So go ahead and grab Codex here. We'll run it here. And now it's installed. We're going to go back over to Ollama. And in here, I'm looking for how we can launch it. So just -m for model, okay? So I'm going to make a new folder here. This will be Flappy Bird Codex Gemma. Okay, I'll just make a new readme.md file. And this is just to give me that single file here. It says OOS. To use Codex with Ollama, you have to use the OOS flag. Okay, sure. And I'm just going to grab this model here. I just want to see if it busts. Okay, so we'll go ahead. Whoops, we'll go ahead. And we will copy this. We'll paste it, hit enter. The only thing is, like, they have recommended models, so they don't explain why they're recommended, right? So they'll be like, oh, use GPT, OSS, the open source one, right? We'll go ahead and try this. And I'm in the wrong directory. So we'll go Flappy Bird. Oh, Flappy Bird D here. And we'll go ahead and run this command here and just see if it even works. And so we'll go ahead and type in model. And so it's not specifying here, but you can see the models up here, Gemma 4, Gemma 3. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead here and we'll just say create, we'll put it in plan mode, create me a Flappy Bird single game, single page. Single page, single index HTML page. Plain JavaScript and CSS. Use WebGL. Okay, so we're just trying to test out the coding harness to see what kind of results we can get. Probably the hardest one would be to utilize Gemini CLI. In fact, they don't even list it here. And when you want to use Gemma, or Gemini, you'd probably serve it up via Google's API, and it's experimental. So, but anyway, this is actually giving good planning information, proposed plan. So I'll start by exploring the directory. There's nothing to explore. I'm having trouble in the directory since it's from scratch. Input, etc., etc. Okay, great. Go make, whoops. Just talking about the implementation. And so getting good results back, not to say that ClaudeCode wouldn't have done this, but for whatever reason, we're getting back excellent results. Say, great, go implement. Okay, and we'll go ahead and hit enter. And maybe it's still making the plan up here, I'm not sure, but we will hang tight until it is completely done and it executes it, okay? And so far, it's still running. And 5 minutes later, that doesn't mean that it won't come back here, but obviously, Claude Code came back in a snappy result. Really to test this, we have to run it like 3, 4, or 5 times. I don't know. I'm also just kind of curious if there's anywhere where I can track my usage. I don't think that there is, as when I looked it up earlier, there was no information. Oh yeah, there is. Here it is. Okay, so they have session usage. So resets in 1 hour, weekly usage. Wow, resets in 1 hour. That's generous, but maybe I'm not in the 5-hour window here. And apparently I've utilized next to nothing, but it is going really, really slow here. So, will it come back with anything? I do not know. And it looks like it just completed, which is not bad after 5 or 6 minutes. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, is that just the plan? I thought it implemented the plan. Hold on a second here. No, I said, great, go implement it. I am still in plan mode. Where's my code? So, yeah. See, this is where I think I'd prefer it to execute things individualized. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go and create a plan file here. And I'm going to go ahead and type in clear. All right, so, I mean, obviously it did not execute what we wanted it to do, but we still have the implementation here. So I'm going to go just stop this. I'm going to re-enter it back here, and let's see if we can drive it based on the plan. I kind of wish that it would break up its tasks, so maybe that might help it a bit, but maybe we just reference it. Okay, please implement this plan. And we'll see if that works. I mean, it's obviously, it can use tool use, so I'm not really concerned about that. Oh, there we go. And so now we have a list. And it's off to the races. I'm not sure if it would checkbox this off as it goes, but at least we know that it knows what it needs to do. And so we just want to observe the final output here, okay? All right, so it didn't go and implement it. I mean, it made an updated plan. Okay, great. Go implement it. Right, and so we're trying to get it to go implement, unless it was running this entire time. Message submitted after next tool call. Okay, so maybe it is still implementing. Okay, and maybe we just have to wait here. I just can't really tell that it is processing. Normally it will show something that it is working, but maybe it is working. So maybe I just got to hang tight. All right, so we're still waiting several minutes and we're not getting execution. And so, maybe this is where, we're not going to get the results that we want. So I guess what we might want to do here is take Ollama's suggestion and try to use the recommended one for Codex. Okay, we're just generally testing these out and seeing what works and what doesn't and making best observations. Nothing super exciting here. But I'm going to go over to here, and there's GPT OS, and they had the 120 billion parameter one here. So maybe we will give that a go. And so we will go up to here. We'll place that here. And let's go take a look and see if that makes any kind of difference. It shouldn't download them all because there's nothing to download, but I guess it's just rapidly downloading. Could not find bubble wrap on the path and install. So I actually haven't put bubble wrap in here. Bubble wrap is necessary if you want a sandbox environment. See the sandbox prerequisites. Not really concerned about it. So let's go ahead and just say, can you implement this plan? And let's see if the GPT OSS does any better. Okay. And, while that is going, I'm just kind of curious what this model is. I don't think I've seen this one before. Okay. I'll just pause here. We'll wait for this hangout. But over here, it's saying, There's not a single official model name for OpenAI or Meta. It's labeled used by tooling. So GPT style open source, this usually refers to open weight LLMs that mimic GPT behavior. Okay, but which one is it? Open weight LLM hosted by that, a host of Mixtral variants. Okay, so maybe it's based off of Mixtral. Ollama. And so we'll go over to here while this is executing in the background. It is working. Let's kind of observe what we have here. Say GPT. So it says OpenAI's open weight model designed for powerful open reasoning, versatility, etc., etc. Well, which is it? Here we go. So Ollama partners with OpenAI to bring the latest state-of-the-art, etc. The two models bring a whole new, etc., etc. Okay, so I don't see whether we have Mistral whatsoever in here. It sounds like this is something produced by OpenAI. I'm not sure how old this is. 2025, definitely not new. Okay. Well, hey, at least they're there. And at least we can see what it's trying to do. But we will just have to hang tight and see what happens. All right, so after 5 minutes, we have, oh no, 2 minutes maybe. Feels like 5 minutes though. We have something generated. We'll go back over to here, give it a refresh. And this is the Codex folder. Okay. Flappy Bird, Codex, Gemma. And I'm refreshing. I don't see any file there. I just to explicitly see if it's there. I'm just going to go into the Flappy Bird Codex. No, it's not there. You never wrote a file. Look here. You never wrote a file. Like, let's do a sanity check. Create a test.txt with bananas in it in the current directory, current folder. Again, we're just seeing if it will correctly use tool use. But it's kind of frustrating because after it runs that, right, it's like you don't want it to run again, right? So here it is trying to attempt to write it. Okay. Which is fine. So now we have our single text file. So I go back over to here, and so I'm going to just clear context. We'll say, you know, I want create a task list, a list of tasks that need to be executed to complete this plan, and write it to tasks.md. So this might be the only way that we can kind of help it out. It would be nice to jump back to Gemma and take a look and see if there are issues with just writing. I need to read the repository to see what's already in the plan and then create a task. Do you approve? Yes. Okay. Let's see if we can get it to write to a file at least, a larger file. But like a small one's not going to help us too much. Okay, well, it's trying to create the task file, so that is good. It's weird that it does like a cat or whatever, but you know, as long as it's trying to make something. And so here we have a list. So created the task, a concise step-by-step list. Yeah, sure. I mean, like I'd probably give it a little bit better structure and try to say like, hey, divide it up to other things. But okay, so I'm gonna go here and maybe just like make it a little task list, create the test harness to verify. Right. Put this at the top here. Okay, so I'm going to clear this out. I want you to implement the task list, the tasks in the task list. Implement one by one, check them off as you go. You know, for full context, C plan MD. Okay. And so hopefully that will help it. The big trouble here is like it's not going to clear context after each action and reload its information. But we'll see if it can kind of work this way. Sure, I'll implement it. May I run commands with escalated permissions? Yes, yes. Like, what other permissions do you need? You're good to go. And so it won't exactly work, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so would you like to run the following command? So print F-list functions. Sure, I'm not sure what it's trying to do, but we will let it, give a try there. It's doing something. But yeah, I don't know. These models might not be good enough to, well, again, depends on the other models we try out. Like Kimi might do a lot better. But some of these might might not be able to be up to the task for completing stuff. I was surprised Gemma actually completed for Claude Code, so at least that's really, really good. But we will just hang out and see what happens, okay? Everybody's coming back with some stuff here. We'll go ahead and say yes. And did it check it off as it went? Oh, yeah, it's going to edit that. Yeah, okay, sure. Apply patch placeholder. I don't know why it's running such strange functions. But it's trying. Whoa, look at that. Did it really do that much? Well, maybe it did. I like how it doesn't seem like it did it one by one, though. It looks like it just went ahead and did the whole thing. But hey, at least it updated the task, so I appreciate that. I mean, like, still has to do the harness. So, unchecked items, okay, so, okay, go implement your harness. Go implement the rest. But hey, at least it was able to do it. But it is finicky, you know, like. All right, so it's completing the next task. But it'd be nice if, like, again, it was more incremental and there was more verification of each step. But I'm not sure what we would have to do to get it to listen. But again, it's very slow. But I mean, like, you know, it's to be expected, right, for what we're doing. But here it's going to go ahead and update the list. And so now it's suggesting that everything is completed. Technically, we've basically moved over to the Codex one as the Gemma one was not working the best way possible. But let's go over here. And we'll go and just open this in a new browser here. So go ahead. And the game is broken. Jump impulse raises bird. Okay, well. It was a nice attempt. But, you know, that model is not a new model. So I want to switch back over just to Gemma for a second because I'm curious. I just want to see if it can just write a single file. So can you update the text.txt to have apples instead of bananas in it? Okay. And it's exploring the file. Can it edit it? I just again, simple test. Read. Yeah, I can. Okay. So, you know, I would just say this is like this is the implementation done by GPT-OOS. But I'm going to go back over to here. And let's see if we can give it the similar prompt. So I'm just hitting up here. I want to make sure it has context. I'm just going to go ahead and just say like tasks. Oops. Tasks MD. Oh, it just auto completes it to that. Okay, well, that's fine. Then we'll go ahead and hit enter. And so let's say, you know, if it can do the same thing or have a better chance of doing better. But I'm hoping like this way, we're kind of forcing it to say, hey, write the file and update it. But those plans are kind of frustrating because like if you have that plan and it doesn't do it, it sucks. So yeah, it's built its checklist. Doesn't look like it's going to do it individualistically. Maybe it will. Even the plan, we could have probably wrote in it like, hey, checkbox these off as they go, as opposed to placing it in the text there. Maybe higher priority would have actually been a lot smarter about doing it, or repeating it would have been good. But anyway, it's off to the races, and we will see what happens and see if it actually produces a file. All right, we got a file edited. Also, another thing that I should consider is like, is it attempting to read the other HTML file? I don't think so, because it would have told us if it did, right? So it does list the contents out, reads the tasks in the plan MD, so it catted out the files. You can tell it's not looking at the existing index file. Oh, look at that, it's checkboxing off as it goes, cool. But is it actually checkboxing off in here? No, it's checkboxing off in whatever this is, which I guess is fine. But only if it actually updates the file, right? So, okay, so I don't know if you caught that because I paused and I have no idea how long this has been mucked up for. But I'm going to go ahead here. I was just talking to myself and it was all paused, eh? But it finished the job, and so we'll drag open over the index one here, and you can see it works. So I'm impressed. So Gemma works really, really well. I'm thinking maybe the reason we're not seeing it recommended by Ollama is just not much use with it because Gemma 4 is very new. Obviously, GPT OOS did not do very well, but it's an older model. So we're gonna have to experiment with more models here. The question is like, if we were to serve our own model, and is it even affordable for us to serve our own model from raw compute? What kind of performance would we get? And that's what I'm kind of interested in. I mean, people from a data sovereignty perspective would care, but I'm just thinking like, okay, what does it actually look like when we know what guaranteed compute that we have, what these things would perform at? That's a separate task here. But we have more models to evaluate, so we'll continue on, okay? Hey, this is Andrew, and in this video, we are going to utilize Ollama Cloud. So I just went and I just signed up and entered in my credit card for Ollama Cloud for the Pro Edition. Again, it's just to test it out, and so we can actually use a model that will work appropriately. And there's obviously a lot of models. I seem to be very focused on Gemma, but we will give them all a try here. But the idea is that we go down below, you can see that there is a 431 billion cloud parameter model that we can utilize. I want to make sure that I'm not running anything on my GPU here. That I don't expect it to really utilize the GPU, but I just want to make sure my GPU is done here. Okay. And I don't know if I need Ollama to be running. I'm going to stop that for now. And I'm going to quit out of this here. And so let's go ahead and hit, oops, clear. And I obviously want to run the model here, but I want to run the cloud one. So I'll just grab the cloud one. I'm going to assume that that's all we have to do is just put the name in here like this, and it will utilize it. So we'll go ahead and hit enter. This could not connect to Ollama serve. So I'm going to go back over to here. I'm just going to type the word Ollama. We haven't really been doing that, but here you can see if we want to utilize Ollama through some particular thing. But what I want to do, is see how we can get logged into cloud, as I've never done that before. Is there like an auth? Sign in. Okay, so we'll say Ollama sign in. And we are already signed in. Okay, so I'll just do Ollama serve. I didn't think we would have to do, oh, it's already in use. So let's say Ollama, so it's sudo system ctl Ollama status Ollama. I don't know why it's the other way. I guess it kind of makes sense. And so I'm just going to go here and whoops, I'm going to say stop. Sure doesn't look like it's running, eh? And then we'll say Ollama serve. Oh my goodness, I really find this frustrating. As we aren't running it anywhere. Oh, maybe we're running the model here. Exit. Okay. And so I'm going to go back over to here. Say stop. We'll get the status. And yeah, it should not be running. Ollama serve. And so this will happen from time to time. I'm just going to go over to here and be like, how do I kill it? Because I'm obviously not running it. And this is a problem that I would run into. If you really want, you can just restart the machine. But I'll go ahead and do that. See, there's no process. Kill Ollama. There we go. We'll try Ollama serve again. Ollama serve. Okay, so that's just something that we will have to fiddle with. That there, so I don't have to look it up again. And we will hit up. Nope, I don't want that one. I don't want that one. No. I'm trying to find where we were running this before. Okay, well, I'll just have to copy the line again. It's fine. So we'll go over to here. And I'm going to grab this entire line. And I'll just put it here. And I'm going to grab Gemma 43 billion parameter cloud. So now we should be able to run this. My copy paste is just terrible. I don't know why. And we'll hit enter. And so we'll check model. It says it's using the cloud one. Say hello. And so the idea here is it's supposed to be going out here. Notice that we're getting no memory usage as it's supposed to be utilizing the cloud. And replied back. Okay, excellent. So are we in the Hello World folder? Yes, we are. So can you write hello world.rb with puts hello world in this folder. Now consider that we also have our permissions set in this Claude file. So if we remove those, we might want to consider that. So I've created the hello world.rb and it instantly worked. So that's really, really interesting. What if we were to just get rid of this file? So just say other, because it won't load it that way. And what if we were just to go in here and delete this out for now? And so I'm going to launch it again, delete this file, and I want to hit up, see if it can do it without that information. Does it still work? It does. Okay, great. So we don't need our settings. Okay, we do not need our claude.md, and it's just working. So I think that if we were able to get a larger context, it probably would have worked. But that's kind of interesting. So I would like to extend this to a larger task now. So I'm going to go back out here. We'll say make a directory, and we'll say Flappy Bird, because that's a very small scope project. And we will go ahead and hit up here, run it again. We'll make a plan. Can you create me a Flappy Bird game that's a single HTML file with JavaScript and CSS inline using WebGL. Okay. So we'll go ahead. I put it into plan mode. I did Shift Tab to do that. And so all we're trying to do is test this experience out. Again, we're using Gemma just because it's super efficient. But we will take a look at the other models, as we do have other models available to us. And Gemma's not even the recommended model, right? So if you go over to the documentation, it basically recommends everything but Gemma. But it's nice to know that it works, you know? So we go say Ollama, Claude Code here. And if we scroll on down here, it will actually tell you like, hey, you should use these ones, right? Like Kimi, GLM, MiniMax, Qwen, GLM, Qwen. So it's not even recommending that one there. But we're going to wait here and see what comes back, okay? All right, so after waiting 2 minutes, it comes back. Create Flappy Bird game ML. So created a task. I'm not really sure if that would show up under our task. That makes no sense. I don't know why it just says that. So we'll go, okay, great. So maybe the plan mode's not the best choice with us here. And we'll go ahead, whoops. Great, proceed to create the game. Okay, so hopefully it understands what it is that we want to do there. But for whatever reason, plan mode, I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like it really comes back there. But it has that task here, so it's clearly has set one, right? The single task. I don't know where it happened to all our requirements. But we'll have to learn how to drive this stuff as we go here. Probably I would make a plan file and have a checklist and give it individualized tasks to do to iterate over. That might work better. Or you might have a larger model, a managed model, and then you use one of these to work that there. But we'll give it a moment here and see if it can even implement this simple task, okay? All right, it's back. Let's take a look here and see what our results are. So it's gone ahead and created a Flappy Bird game. Okay, it is using GL shaders, so it is using WebGL, which is what I asked to do. So that is good. If we go over to here, one thing that we're not gonna be able to track is our usage. That's the only hard part here. So WebGL rendering, etc., etc. So I really wasn't expecting it to come back with anything, so I'm actually surprised, but we will see if it actually works correctly. So we will bring it over. Oops. I'm trying to get it in my browser here. It's just refusing to open. Come on. There we go. And so we got a Flappy Bird game. Not like this is super complicated, as all these models should be able to do this, right? Okay. Well, it's Flappy Bird. But, again, that's a very, 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 very low bar, right? Something that would be really impressive to me is, like, could it make Wolfenstein? So the newer Frontier models are able to make Wolfenstein 3D with coding agents. And so that would be a better test, like with ray casting. But it didn't make a very good plan. And so that's the only concern that I have is, like, it did not write out a plan. And so maybe I could be more explicit about it. So that would probably be a much better test. But I would call this done for now. So, but we'll do a little bit more testing here before we move to other models. The other thing is that we might also want to just do a Flappy Bird within, this is Gemini. This is not, sorry, this is ClaudeCode Gemma. But I just want to test this in other providers like Codex and stuff like that, and also give it something a little bit harder to do, okay? But yeah, we'll see you here again. Hey, this is Andrew, and we're continuing on testing out different models. Obviously, there are lots of different harnesses that we can use, though I still think that we should persistently keep trying Claude Code here. So I'm going to just go over here, Claude Code Ollama, and I'm going to get this up on the screen here. And let's just take a look at some of the other recommended models we have. So we have Kimi, K2, GLM, MiniMax, Qwen. Qwen's not that good. GLM, and then Qwen 3.5. I mean, obviously these ones are ones that you can run locally, but we're going to focus on these cloud ones because I have limited compute. I'm going to go over into, these are all basically Flappy Bird. I'm not sure as to why I did it this way, but we will go ahead and we'll just say Flappy Bird, Claude Code, Kimmy, K2. Okay, it's technically K25. Maybe just adjust that there. Again, we're just doing a benchmark across these things to see what kind of results we can get. And so we'll just go here. I'll grab this. readme.md. Whoops. It'd be nice to do them in parallel, but I think we're limited based on the service that we have. And so I'm going to go ahead and grab this here. It's saying we don't need the OSS flag, so I'm going to get rid of that. Oh, that's also Codex, by the way. I don't want Codex. Sorry, I don't need Codex again. It's fine. So we'll go back over to here. Okay. And like Codex wasn't that bad. Like, I really can't tell the difference. So I'm not sure if using a generic coding harness is going to really pay off in any way, but there are a few that we want to try, like Goose and stuff like that. But we won't do that just yet. Okay, so we're going to go ahead here, and we will switch out to Sorry, I know this is really finicky here. But we'll go ahead and grab this one here. And we will now go ahead and run it. And we'll give it the prompt. So create me, well, let's see if I can just hit up. Nope, I can't. So I kind of feel like I should be saving this prompt, so I'm not writing it constantly. So prompt.md, create a plan for a, I guess I don't really need the prompt, but I might need it later on. So create a plan for Flappy Bird. Come on, what happened? Can't type now. For Flappy Bird game, single index HTML file, plain JavaScript and CSS. Use WebGL. Okay, so we'll go ahead, copy this. We'll go down below, put it into plan mode, hit enter. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted. And I'm gonna just copy this, paste, hit enter. And so we will see how Kimmy 2.5 does. I mean, I feel like these are all going to pretty much perform the exact same way, but what we're looking for is like, are there any super dead stops? Is there anything crazy wrong here? But we'll just continue on here, okay? All right, so right here we have invalid 2 parameters. So it tried to call plan. It's having a little bit of issues with it. So, I don't know if this plan thing is an issue for it. Could be the case. But we will wait to see if we get any plan back here, okay? So it does come back with a plan. And with code, I'm not sure why we got code back. But is a detailed plan. It looks pretty good. So we'll go down below here and we'll say, yes, auto approve, and let it go ahead and implement it. Okay, and it looks like it stopped. And so this is, again, a continuous problem that we're having where it will go ahead and make something and then stop. So here I'll just say plan.md, because it does seem a little bit confused. But I don't want to lose this plan, so I'm going to just go ahead and copy it. We'll go all the way down. You didn't execute the plan. We'll see if that helps at all, but really it seems like breaking down the task would help it a bit. All right, we are back. And as this has been generating out, I've been trying to see if I could build like an eval agent, as it'd be nice to be able to run this against a bunch of tools, because right now we're just kind of playing with it and seeing what happens. But it seems to have come back here and says that it has created it. So we'll go ahead and take a look here. And we will reveal it in Explorer. Okay, the only problem with these tests is that, they can be pretty brittle. So go here. Whoa! Oh, wow! That's pretty good. Okay, this is like the best one so far. Like just overall. I mean, again, we can't just say whether this is good or not. I mean, like, it's good. It's good. Let's not kid ourselves. But, the question is really like evaluation of, like, is this model just really optimized at Flappy Bird, or is it good at all general programming tasks? And we really do need to create some kind of criteria to test these things against. But that'll take a little bit of time. So right now we're just playing with the models. But I would say, good job. Kimi 2.5. Maybe we'll come back and use this again. That was impressive. Ciao, ciao. Hey folks, it's Andrew. We are back and we are going to attempt in this one to use GLM 5. So we're getting some interesting differences here so far. Kimi 2.5 has left me impressed. We will see what these other ones can do. Go ahead. We'll say Ollama launch Claude model. Okay, and so we'll go ahead, grab this here. Launch it up. And luckily we saved the prompt over here, so go ahead. Paste it here, put it into plan mode, making sure that we have this model selected. We do. And we'll see how it does. Be back here in just a moment. All right, let's come back here with a plan. And so we'll go ahead here and just make ourselves, because we obviously won't know. Or results are here if we do not save it. And so we'll go ahead. Just trying to copy that plan without also killing that there. And so we'll go over to GLM and we'll say plan.md. Might as well just save our results so we can take a look at the plan. How's this plan look? I mean, it's definitely more concise. Looks fine to me. We'll go and say yes. Auto approve. We'll send it off here to the races and see what we get back. Oh, okay. It looks like we are back and it has generated out this here. All these things take, you know, they're not super fast, but they're not, I mean, no, they're slow. They're slow. But at the very least, it's way better than what I was actually expecting for performance-wise. Well, let's go ahead here. For these open models, go here, drag this over. This one looks the same. Huh. Oh, you know why? I'm in the Kimi folder. That's why. See? Kimi folder. I can be like, that's really weird if that's identical. So I just need to back out here. Okay. And so now we have the actual index file. Okay. Ooh, nice aesthetics. Wow, that is smooth. Why can't Gemma keep up with this? But, okay, so far the recommended models are performing, at least for Flappy Bird, pretty good. But I will have to give them something harder to do than this. All right, but that's all I wanted to test here. And so we will move on to another model, but that's GLM, folks. Hey, it's Andrew, and we're continuing on building Flappy Birds. This time we're going to use MiniMax, so that's another one I've heard good things about. Flappy Bird, Claude Code, and here we'll just say MiniMax M27. Okay, and I'll make a new file in here. We'll just be readme.md, and we will go over to here. Whoop, I keep picking up Codex here. We'll go over to here to this one, grab it over here, drop it in place. We'll grab MiniMax. I'm not looking forward to doing Qwen. I know Qwen's not very good. I mean, it's probably good for its time, but not anymore. And so we'll just CD back here, and we'll go to Flappy Bird, Claude, MiniMax, hit enter, and we'll give it the usual prompt here. Put it into plan mode, hit enter, and chill out. So here it has written a plan. We'll go ahead and take a look at the plan here. So plan.md. Go ahead and copy that. And we'll save it. So we'll go ahead and say, can you go ahead and execute it? It's nice if it just goes straight to the end here, but so far the recommended models have been working splendidly, so we will hang tight. Okay, and so here it looks like it would have executed it. It didn't write the file. Where is it? Right index. Well, it's calling right, so, oh no, it's right there, never mind. Okay, and so let's get this one open. So just reveal. So my Finder here, drag it into a browser, and there we go. So we'll hit space, and it's broken. Is it worth to try to help it fix it? No, I don't care. But it either works or it doesn't work. Did it add its own validation step? We'll go over to here. It had a verification step, but for whatever reason, it does not work. So, well, and everyone's saying, oh, MiniMax is good. We could probably ask it to fix itself. We could try. If I go back and just check this one more time. Okay, 1 second here. Just a moment. Take a look and see what's wrong. Usually don't try to fix these, but from frame URL, I mean, I don't think there's any major issue here. Let me just take a look here. Let's see if you're out. Oh, that's fine. I don't think that's why it's failing. But, you know, I don't think these have vision in them, right? So if I go here and drop this in, I don't think that's going to work. Control Alt V, Shift V. I think I had a plugin for this, but it doesn't work. So I go, hey, it doesn't work. I know that's not very descriptive. Let's just see if it can do anything to solve the index.html file. Well, hey, it has detected several bugs. So the main one is the pipes, the ground, the clouds are all quad buffered and the UV mapped. So they're sampling the wrong atlas regions. Let me write these properly. I suppose you could do that. Okay, rewrite them. That's not the problem that we're having, though. Oh, maybe it is working right now. Sometimes it's confusing because it doesn't show that it's working. So here I can't tell. Okay, we'll just hang out here. All right, it's applied a bunch of fixes. That doesn't necessarily mean it knows what was actually wrong with it. We'll go ahead and give it a refresh. And it still does not work. So, and we don't have any errors per se, so it's really hard to report back and just tell it, hey, there's no birds. But I think like if there was a test suite of things to check, then that's where we could see some better luck. So I would just say that unfortunately, MiniMax did not do as well as we hoped. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means in this particular use case, it did not pass the simple Flappy Bird test. Okay, I'll see you in the next one, okay? Hey, this is Andrew, and we have one more model to test. I expect this one to perform terribly, as it's actually one that I can run locally, and it doesn't normally do a good job. But this is going to be the Qwen 3.5. So we'll go ahead here, and we will make ourselves a new README .md. We'll go ahead here and just grab this command so we can see it. And we'll go back and we will grab Qwen 3.5. Also, you have to consider that, you know, these models could be quantized, so maybe they do perform really well, but the way that they have been modified or changed for Ollama changes their performance. So that is something that also really, really matters when you are evaluating these things. We'll go ahead and we'll paste that in there. I'll go grab our prompt. We'll place this into plan mode, paste it in, hit enter, and we'll just wait a moment here. All right, so we have a plan. Go ahead and grab our plan. And we are now in, where is our new folder? This is Qwen, where's your folder? Oh, I spelt it wrong. It's, well, I'll fix the spelling before I publish it here. It's not Qwen, it's Qwen. Probably would have done better if it was spelled Qwen, but we'll go back over it because people like Spider-Man, right? So we'll go down all the way down the ground here, and we will now auto-approve it, and we'll see how it does. All right, so it is back, and let's go take a look. It actually executed very, very quickly. Surprisingly, extremely quickly. Did it actually write the file? No, it didn't write the file. Oh, but this is just the plan, right? No, we already saved the plan. Oh, error writing the file. Okay, so we'll go ahead here, and this is a problem with Qwen and Qwen. Half the time it doesn't work, so you never wrote the file. I did create an index.html file for you. The file was not already there, so I'm not sure what it's talking about. So, no, I created the file, which is empty. Can you do a sanity check? And just write hello world in the index HTML file. See if that helps it. Okay, so no, I created the file and it just doesn't get it. So, I mean, Qwen or Qwen is doing what I thought it could do. So could maybe just be like, can you output? It seems like it's trying to read the file. It's really stuck. Restore the code. I'm not trying to rewind. And so that one's just not going to work. Okay, so, well, that's Qwen. We could probably tell it to like output the code here, but if it can't write to the file, it's functionally useless to us, to be honest. So, yeah, there you go. We've evaluated all the ones that we can with Claude Code. The question really is like, is there a coding harness that is going to be better suited? As Claude Code is obviously fine-tuned specifically for Anthropic models. I don't want to have to run through every single coding agent to find out, but like the only way to really test this stuff would be through an eval harness. And the other problem is that all these other coding harnesses might not even use Ollama. You might have to integrate them with their plans and stuff like that. So it makes it really, really hard to determine which ones we want to use. But, my goal is just more like, let's broadly explore these models. And, like if we needed to self-host them, how could we do that to get data sovereignty, right? Or could we run these locally and get compute? So this is really what I'm interested in. Not so much comparing every single coding harness that's agnostic, but hey, at least we ran the gambit here, okay? Hey, this is Andrew. In this video, we're going to take a look at Pi agent coding or Pi coding agent. I did try to do Goose, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, but I simply cannot get it to work. So I've given up trying to get Goose to work. But we'll go ahead and we'll try out Pi. So it's at this domain, codingagent.ai, and we'll go ahead and do a single install here. I'm going to create a new folder called Pi example. And so we will cd into the Pi example here, and we will go ahead and globally install the Pi coding agent. So we'll give that a moment for this to get going. And so now that is installed, let's go ahead and figure out how to utilize this. It's probably going to be something like Pi, but I know that Ollama has a boot up for this. So if we have it, we just go ahead and enter, and I can just choose the model I want. And it's telling me to navigate over here to connect to Ollama. So I will go do that off screen here. And it just says connect device. I like that. That's going to make my life a lot easier. Okay, and so now we are connected to Pi. And it is installed. So there we go. So we're inside of it. We got pi.example. So we'll just say, create me a Flappy Bird game. Well, hold, before we do that, let's type in /. So we have model. Can we do that? Hold on. So we only have one model available. Escape here. What other options do we have? Settings, scoped, import, shared, session, changelog, fork, tree, new, compact, resume, reload. So not a whole lot of stuff. Could we get skills with this? I mean, to me, that would be the most valuable thing is getting skills. Let's go ahead and just say, create me. Does it have a plan mode? Shift, tab, switches to different levels of thinking. We'll leave it on medium. If I do / plan, do we have a plan mode? We do not. So very primitive, but let's go ahead. Create me a Flappy Bird. Well, we have a prompt for it. I think we have it in Kimmy. And we'll just say, create me. Because there's no plan here, so we'll just go ahead and say, create a Flappy Bird game, single index, etc., etc., and we'll let it go off to the races and see if it can do that. I mean, I suspect that should work, but obviously there's just a lot of things we do not have, but I mean, maybe none of that really matters, because at the end of the day, what do you need? Compact, clear, plan mode, debug mode would be nice, working with skills would be nice, but Pi coding agent is supposed to be extremely minimal on purpose. So I wonder if there'd be a way that we could get agent skills in here. So while this works, I'm going to be back and see if I can get agent skills, okay? So while it is working in the background, it seems like it is doing an okay job here. Let's see what there is. So I looked for the docs and extensions. And so we can see that there is custom providers. It's not exactly what I want. I want extensions. That's where I went and it took me to the wrong spot. So what I'm looking for is skills. So here, extensions are TypeScript modules that extend Pi's behavior. Sounds great. So register tools that the LLM can do, user interactions, custom UI components. I just want skills. That's all I'm looking for is agent skills. So we'll type in agent skills. I mean, it looks like there's already a folder for it, so all I want is agent skills. So that is something that we will need to find out. So let me go find out. I literally did a simple search, and under bad logic, which I believe is the creator, we have PySkills. So a collection of skills for the coding agent. But does it already have the skills functionality? And that's what I don't know. This is the person that creates it, right? Yeah, this is the person that creates Py coding agent. Oh, here we go. So we should just be able to put them in. So maybe it's already built into the docs and we do not have to. Py coding agent. We do not have to do anything extra here. So we'll go back over to their docs, read the docs. And I'm looking for skills. Oh, it's right here, skills. Okay, so you just can drop skills in there and they should work. And right off the bat, we're seeing Doom. Kind of run Doom is always the most important thing here. And it's following the standard format. So this should, in theory, work. So when this is done, we will test out that, but we are just generating this out, okay? All right, and so, I mean, it looks like it was starting to produce something, and so there was a chance that this could work, but for whatever reason, we have a 400 developer is not one of the system assistant, etc. So I'm not sure why it's doing that, but I guess the idea here is the message role, it passed the developer, which is just something that does not exist. But we do have code. So I'm kind of curious about this one problem with the format, but I'm going to go ahead and reveal this in the File Explorer. I'm going to open it up in Chrome. I just want to see, did we get any good results here? Yeah, we did. Yeah, it looks good. Okay. I mean, the pipes could be green. That's about the only issue here. It's crazy to think how much this game made when it first came out back, I don't know, it was like 2010 or 9. And the creator then was like not happy with their success and then tried pulling the game and wasn't happy with the money. But anyway, the point is that it is working, but I don't know why we got a 400 error. So I'm going to go just ahead and ask ChatGPT for fun. So this is Py coding agent, and it errored out even though it did code. Why is it trying to use a developer role? Because I don't know why I would even try to do that, as I've never seen developer role, usually it's system whatever. It's not a valid role for the OpenAI standards. Some newer frameworks, including Py, Coding Agent, Claude, and internal tools use a developer role for higher priority systems. But here's the problem. The developer role is not part of the official API schema, so if the agent sends it back, so the build message is like this, sends it back to this, why it's still produced. So maybe there is a way to fix that. So like we'll just look up Py coding agent developer role, because it comes down to the agent, right? And just see if there's a plugin or something. Extension. Okay, is there any extension here for that? So I'm not sure. But the idea here is that we should be able to modify it based on what that stuff is. But that's definitely not something that I can do much about right now. So what we can do is maybe check out skills. And I really like the fact that they're doing Doom here. So here it says TUI or Web UI, resuming Doom. So here they are trying to play Doom in here. And so here it looks like we can put our skills in our skills directory, my skills, whatever. So let's go ahead and just try this out. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new folder, say skills, and we'll call this new skill Doom player. If we can even do that, it'd be kind of fun, but I don't think we can. And we'll say skill.md. And no, I think skills. No, I thought they had a a front matter on them. Maybe they don't. So let's go take a look at the standard here as I just keep forgetting what it is. And somewhere here we'll have our specification. Yes, it does. So here we should have front matter. We'll go ahead and paste that in here. So this would be like Doom player. And so the idea here is you can play the game Doom by receiving input, right? So we'll go ahead. Maybe that's a bad skill right now, but is there a way that we can run Doom in the browser? That'd be a good question. So I'm gonna go over here. I'm just gonna use something a little bit more intelligent. So I want to create a agent skill using the open format to play Doom. Can I run Doom in my terminal? And is there a way a skill can play it? Okay. And maybe that is just an unrealistic expectation, but just because they saw it. But this one just actually launches Doom anytime it asks to do work. So maybe we're trying to do something else here. And I'm just giving it a moment. Maybe this is just overkill because it would still have to control something. So let's just make it a more boring, realistic goal here. And so I'm going to go ahead here and just make one that I usually make, which is to do update skill. And in fact, we probably have an existing skill somewhere else if I go to one of our other repositories. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and just try to find one. So I'm going to exam pro co off screen here. And I'm just looking for anything like maybe like my Gemini repo might have a skill. So like in the simple to do app. And so is this a skill? Why does it say .skill on there? That's kind of weird. Maybe it's in here. Here we go. To do manager. And so we definitely have one here already. This is online. You can go grab it. You don't need me to give you a link here. It's all here. So I'm going to grab this one. And Gemini is pretty good as it's pretty much vanilla in terms of its use. And the to-do manager needs to be called this here. Okay. And the other thing that we're missing here is the script. If we go back a step here and we go into scripts, I'm going to grab this here. Okay. And we'll make a new folder here called scripts. And this is called Manage To-Dos. We've done my other courses. You've already done this. It's not a big deal. Okay, so we now have our script in place. Now I just need an SQLite 3 database. I'm going to go back a few steps here. And we might already have one in this repository. We do. So I'm going to go ahead and download this. Download this raw file. And then I'm going to just drag it into this project here. Into the Pi example. And so now we have that there. So I'm going to just clear out of there and then hit back up and choose to launch with Pi. And we're now in here. So now let's see if my skills available. So manage or to do manager. So it's not auto completing any skills here, and I don't get that. So I'm going to say, can you give me a list of my to-dos in my SQLite database using the to-do manager skill? So I'm being very explicit here because I don't know if it's going to automatically invoke it, and so I'm just trying to help it out here. And so here it's kind of exploring our repo. And there's a skills directory. Let me explore. Okay, but it's not invoking the skill. So that's what it should be doing. So we will go back over to here. We'll take a look at the documentation and see what we have as our options. So skills. On-demand abilities follow the agent skill standard. Invoke a skill with skill /skill:*name. But we didn't see that when it popped up. So it did list stuff out here, which is fine. It did use the manager, but it didn't actually use the skill. So I'm going to type in /skill:, to do manager, add a task to the to-do list, pick up milk, Okay, and we'll see if it actually does that. The user wants me to add a new thing here. And it is still not, I can't tell if it's actually invoking the skill. It is using it correctly. It says not Gemini. So here, oh, so maybe there's something wrong in my script here. Gemini, no Gemini there. Oh, look at that. We have a bunch of Gemini stuff here. Just take this out. Skills. 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 I like how it reasoned, and it still technically used the skill, but I can't tell if it's actually invoking it. Like it's working, but not in the way that we want it to work, right? So let's go back here. Place in the .py directory. Oh, okay. So what we'll do, we'll go back here, and I'll just change this to pi. I mean, that makes sense. That we go there. So pi. I wish they would just have a generic folder for all this nonsense. And so that seems to be what we needed here. We'll go ahead and make a new folder here called .py. And then we will drag this folder into here. We'll say move. And then we'll just cancel out of here. And we'll say Ollama, enter launch pi. That is launching up. And now we're in here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so add a new item to to-do list. Pick up bread. Okay, and so we'll go ahead and do that. And so now it's directly invoking the skill. I mean, it has to. And we'll give it a second here. We'll just wait a moment. There we go. And so our skill is working. And I would say that pi, it works as expected. The only thing I would like to have is like a plan mode. So I'm just wondering, like, pi coding agent plan mode. Can we get an extension for that? As they say, it's something that we can extend. And so here it says add plan mode support. Reasons are outlined in the README, so there's a reasons why they might not do this. What I learned about building opinionated minimal coding agent. Oh, okay, this might be interesting. Let me find out why, just a moment. Okay, so the reason it doesn't have a plan mode is the creator argues that you just don't need it. That's interesting, but they also say you don't need MCP, and you don't need this, so you don't need subagents. And so basically, they're just, not going to do them. And maybe someone will extend that functionality individually, which is fine, but that's what they want to do, right? So it's interesting to read and see someone who has built out one. This is from, November, but obviously there's been multiple changes here, so I'm not sure if they have been updating since then. But hey, at least it works. And, a lot of these things you don't necessarily need if you are smart about it. But, sometimes we're lazy and it's just nice to do, have a plan mode, okay? But hey, we tested out Pi Coding Agent, it worked. And so we will move on and maybe test out Droid, okay? Hey, this is Andrew. In this video, let's go ahead and try out Factory Droid, which apparently has its own concept of droids, whatever those are supposed to be. So we will go over to the Droid website and go ahead and install the CLI. So here it is. I'm just going to cd back a directory here and make a new one called Droid example. Okay. And we will cd into Droid here. And curl that along. So we'll go ahead and hit enter. And hopefully that is installing Droid, as this looks like they have an entire ecosystem. I just want the CLI. Am I getting the CLI here? Yeah, it is. Okay, so it says CLI here. Run Droid to get started, sure, but I'm going to actually launch it from Ollama just to save me some trouble, as that's been a much easier way to work with it these days. And we'll go ahead and choose Kimmy. That seems to be the one that I like. Okay, cool. Droid, yeah, great. I don't care. And so here to start using, we log in, but why would I need to log in? Please log in your factory account to continue. Is that the only way that we can use it? Really? Okay, well, I guess I can make an account. I don't really want to. I was just hoping that we'd launch it and use it. It's interesting. Other providers don't like rope you into that stuff, but we'll go ahead. I'll just quickly make an account. If there are any spend traps, then I'll just scrap this video. But if this video exists, you know that we were able to get through it. Okay. And yeah, Andrew's org, sure. Yeah, I'm just going through the sign up process. Again, I don't endorse any of these products. I'm just using them because there's some options here. We're just getting a little bit of exploration here. So get 1 million free credits. Add a payment method. No. No, thank you. I do not need your payment credits right now. And maybe later on I'll consider it, but right now I'm not. Install the CLI. We've already done that. And so let's go ahead and attempt a login. And so we're waiting for authentication. So here we have this key. We're just matching up here. So confirm the code is shown on your device. HGTDXMMS. It is. We'll go ahead and confirm that. So now it is confirmed. Would you like to install the VS Code extension? No, I do not want it. And so now we are in here. So the question is, what model do we currently have? And we can see that there are multiple models here, but right now we're on the Kimi one. And so clearly they are providing their own one. So we have their Droid core, which is whatever that is. Oh, Droid core. It's just GLM, Kimmy, and whatever. So they have various ones here. Okay. And other providers, which is fine. But I just want to stay on our own custom model here. And we'll say, create me. Well, hold on. Spec. Oh, so it has, instead of plan, it has spec. So we'll go ahead and we will go over to our prompt here. And I'm going to hit this, paste that in, hit enter. Smooth experience with the editor. So that's really, really nice. Again, don't care about that, but it is nice little animations, nice timing, showing us the timer down below. Really wants us to use the IDE. I don't want an IDE. I'm a developer. I don't need that. And so we have our little task list going there. It was interesting. PyAgent code was like, we don't need to do our task lists. And so we'll see what happens here. While this is going, I'm just curious, does it have like a status line? It does. So we have a status line that we can adjust, but maybe we shouldn't fiddle with it while it's working. So be back here in just a moment, okay? So now we should have a proposal. So we go all the way to the top here. So here we have Flappy Bird single file implementation requirements are this architecture. This is really, really clean. I wonder if there is something influencing this with the spec information, because this is really clean output. So we have core systems, game loop input, physics, game state, WebGL, renderer, draw calls. We have a mermaid graph, game objects that it's considering, the shaders. So it's giving us like little peeks of what it's going to do, its controls, its file structure, the estimated lines, which I don't really care about, planned features. Looks good to me. Proceed with proposal. Choose autonomy level. High autonomy, go for it. I think that's kind of suggesting like whether or not we should intervene and suggest what it should do, but I want to see what it can do on its own here, so we will let it give that a try, okay? All right, it is back, and so it says a complete WebGL Flappy Bird game in a single file, bringing back the results. So clearly there's something special about their spec-driven framework here that is making this experience a lot smoother. And so we'll go to our Droid example here, and we have our Flappy Bird. I don't know why I didn't name it index.html. I could have swore that we told it to call it index.html, so it did not listen, but that's fine. Maybe the results are stellar, okay? So go over to here. Let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, Kimmy produced much better results on its own. But again, you know, maybe when you're working in a much larger complex project, you're going to have better guidance with their spec-driven development, whatever it is that they are doing under the hood. So that might be part of the sell with Droid. Again, they have this concept of droids, but we will figure that out here in just a moment. 1 second. All right, and so, you know, just trying to see what Droid was suggesting here. We definitely experienced this tiered autonomy system, which is going to just change whether it's going to ask you stuff. It looks like there's specialized droids instead of generalized ones. And they're really trying to claim it based on their, I guess, their agentic loop and their feedback. It says, yeah. So it looks okay. I mean, I think I would probably prefer using Pi coding agent, even though there are some things I don't agree with it. But it's just the fact that you can exactly see what it's doing. Um, and obviously, like in this particular case, I don't feel like we got the best result that we could have, and Kimmy was able to do a better job without utilizing Droid. The thing that I'm not certain about is like the droids. So I imagine that they have existing skills or droids, or let's up to droids in here. Manage custom droids. That's just agents, right? And so here they have a few. Yeah. So I feel like it's just kind of a renaming of agents. So yeah, it's fine. I mean, they already have create skills, so you can create a skill right off the bat inside of here. Enter, manage, resume missions. So fancy way of managing a task list. So yeah, to me, this is really much looking like marketing. Again, still tight tool, but I don't know. I don't think I'm that convinced here. But anyway, at least we got to experience. It still was a very smooth CLI experience. But yeah, there we go. Hey folks, it's Andrew. We're going to continue on here, and I think we'll go ahead and try out Open Code. I'm not really a huge fan of the creators of Open Code, as I know them, and I'm just not a fan of them. But we will go ahead and just be fair and try and evaluate it here and see what we have. So we'll go ahead and grab the coding tools. I'm going to go ahead and grab it from curl. We'll go ahead and hit enter, and we'll go ahead and make a new folder here called Open Code. CLI, and we will wait until that is installed and see what we get. Looks like they have a whole interface here whizzing around. It's fine. We'll just give it a moment, okay? So now we are in here, and I'm going to cd into our OpenCLI code directory. I kind of want to call it open code example. Okay, and we'll just cd back here, and I want to go ahead and use Ollama. And we'll go over to launch Open Code, and I want to choose Kimi 2.5. And so here we are. It's a nice interface. I kind of wish that it was already in the interface that I expected to be in here. We have a plan and a build mode, so that is nice. I'm going to go into plan mode. We're going to go ahead and grab this line here, paste it in, enter. And so right off the bat, it's off to the races. On the right-hand side, we have context and other information here. So it's kind of like an expanded status line, and it's moving pretty fast. So I'm not sure why it's streaming so fast. It feels fast. Like this is not faster than other providers, but there's something that makes it feel fast, which I'm not sure about. We do have a heads up on the context and usage. Am I even using the model that I think I'm using? I think I am. Model. I am. Okay. Over here we have open code. The only complaint about these models is that they're highly quantized. So even if you use the $5 or $10 subscription, people are fussing about them. But I couldn't tell you. I'm not going to go pay the $5, $10 to find out, as we have Ollama, and I feel Ollama we can carry to other places. So what do we have here in our list? So we have some thinking here. HTML, good. Implementation, clarifying questions. Okay, go execute. So go ahead, and now it's executing. Yeah. And again, it looks nice, but I don't care about whether things look good. I want to see if they work well for me. But I did like the fact that when we launched it, it wasn't trying to force us to make an account like Droid was. I did not like that. But the issue with these providers is that, they have to build a moat around somewhere, and, it's going to be pushing their own subscriptions and things like that. And I'm not sure. Like, if we're going to use open models, I want to have something that is open, like Pi coding agent, though that has now been acquired by a company, so maybe it won't be open forever. That, or maybe we just need a minimal one that we can all kind of tweak and work with. So the results are done. And again, the colors are nice, but we'll go over to here and take a look in our open code. And where's our file? Oh, we have another plan? I thought we just had our plan. Why we got a second plan here? Does this plan cover everything you need? Let me know. And would you like to start implementing? Go execute. The user wants me to go create the Flappy Bird game. They want it is here, and then it goes over to here. Proceed with this plan. Yes. I think maybe because we're in plan mode. Yes, please proceed. And maybe this is easy to fix. We'll just switch out of plan mode. We'll go ahead and try this again. The user wants me to proceed to create a Flappy Bird game, but wait, the user said, yes, please proceed. This seems like they want me to execute the plan. However, the system clearly states that I'm in read-only mode. Well, why can't you switch? So I'll go ahead and hit tab, that's fine. Okay, please execute. And we'll go ahead and try that. Now, is this the spend for Ollama? If it is, let's go take a look here, because that might be useful. I think what I would like is if they had an editor where you could just kind of, I mean, again, maybe PyCode can do that, but like you could put stuff up there. But we'll go over to settings, and we'll take a look here. And this is what my usage shows. So I'm not really sure if this is my actual real usage, if that's my real tokens. So I cannot tell where the source is coming from. Okay. And also, you know, is it using something else here? But anyway, it's going off and building. We'll be back here in just a moment. Good management of to-dos. I do like how we have the to-do list here on the right-hand side, but we will chill, okay? All right, it's done. It did create the index.html correctly. And so here it is explaining in summary what it has done. So that is good. Let's go ahead and reveal this in File Explorer. And we'll go over here. Oh, it's wow, that's different. It made a long looking one. Oh, because it stretches with the page. That's funny. So you have a long bird or not. We'll go ahead and tap. And it works. So yeah, good success so far. So I like that. The only thing I would say that I just did not like about Open Code was the fact that you had to automatically do that toggle to get in those modes. But yeah, I mean, it looks fine. So, you know, would I ever put more time into this? I don't know. Again, it looks more aesthetically nice as opposed to functionally useful. So again, still PyCoding Age would probably be my preference, as we can exactly see what is going on. And that to me is probably more valuable as a developer than anything else. But again, you know, you need to make the choice of what you want to use. But anyway, so that is Open Code. And there we go.